Do you know that game with the little dude in a green outfit equipped with a sword and shield on an adventure to save the world from imminent destruction? Yeah, Tunic is pretty great. Today, however, we're talking about The Legend of Zelda. As someone who has next to no ties to this series, what better way is there to get into it than by starting at the very beginning, with the original The Legend of Zelda on the NES. Welcome to the Backlog project, where we play through a gigantic backlog of games and you get to choose which one will be covered next. Just head down to the description of the video to take part in our weekly poll and pick your favorite. In the most unexpected turn of events, this NES title doesn't really feature much of a story to follow, but at least provides you with a paragraph to get you motivated to do what a hero does best: kill bad guys and save princesses. Ganon, the Prince of Darkness, stole the Triforce of Power, but failed to get his hands on the corresponding Triforce of Wisdom, which Princess Zelda broke into 8 pieces and scattered them in dungeons across the world before she was kidnapped by the Prince of Bigness. It is now up to Link, our hero, to find the pieces, defeat Ganon, and save the princess. Why? I don't know. The game never really explains who or what Link's connection to all of this is. Maybe she promised him a good time. Bruh. Okay. Before the fans get up in arms against me for this, I'll be serious. The game's manual actually has additional info on the story. Before she got captured, Zelda ordered her nursemaid Impa to find a man worthy of using the Triforce, so she fled the castle and searched for this mysterious hero. When she was about to be captured by Ganon's minions, Link appeared and took them down. Impa told Link about what happened, and with his unwavering sense of justice, he swears to find the Triforce and use its power to defeat the evil plaguing the land. A land that looks alright. For an early NES game, it's certainly not ugly, but it also isn't exactly winning a beauty contest. The world looks very similar all around, with changing wall colors or different kinds of trees being the most diversity the land of Hyrule can seem to offer. Each dungeon also uses identical structures and assets, only changing the color. While the sprites are well made and distinguishable, they are also very buggy and often flicker or straight up disappear from sight if enough is going on screen. Speaking of that, the game tends to run fairly well, but slows down when the action gets heated. Nothing new for NES games, and something very few titles manage to avoid, but nevertheless something worth mentioning. If there's one thing the Zelda series is known for above all else, it's the music. If you can't recognize Zelda's overworld theme, you are a lesser human being. What? Don't blame me for telling the truth. The problem here is that while Kondo Koji composed this masterpiece of a theme, as well as the equally memorable main theme for the series, the rest of the soundtrack kind of pales in comparison. What follows are a very simple menu theme, the ending theme that is based off of said menu music, and 2 dungeon tracks that are both fine, if not nearly as good as the rest, but they loop after 20 seconds, and with how much time you spend fighting and puzzling your way through the dungeons, the music can get annoying. Very annoying. The first thing you will see after entering a name and creating your Link character, yes, it says that in the official menu, is this iconic screen. Why is it iconic? Because most people probably never got a lot further than this. This game doesn't give you any hints or guidance, so just set off on your adventure on your own and figure stuff out. The obvious first step would be to go into that cave where you get your first sword from a random old dude. But what if you don't do that and decide to explore the overworld before entering some dark cave? Well, you'll just be slaughtered by the enemies because you have no means to defend yourself and respawn at the first screen again after dying. Told you, it's iconic. In general, your modus operandi isn't all that different from what I just described. You go from screen to screen, defeating enemies and more or less hoping to randomly stumble upon something useful or interesting. Hyrule is full of secret caves and cellars that are pretty much impossible to find by yourself without either a guide or trying to put a bomb against any wall you can find or burn down a whole forest to get some more rupees. Capitalism. To be fair, there are hints to almost all of the secrets, either from NPCs in the game itself or the manual, but connecting all of them or even finding them in the game, because said NPCs are just as well hidden as the secrets themselves. It's a never-ending spiral of secrets that is frankly just not worth even doing for the few rupees or needless bomb limit increases they give you. While there's no set order in which to explore the world and play the dungeons in, some of the items you get from earlier ones are very useful or downright necessary to beat later labyrinths. So having a bit of a guideline as to which one is which would have gone a long way to making this adventure less trial and error. With that not existing, you are very likely to run around, find a dungeon, and give it a shot only to find out it's either way too hard for you or plain impossible because you're missing some key item. Speaking of items, besides the sword you get in the beginning, Link can find a plethora of weapons and tools to help him on his quest, such as bombs, the boomerang, or the magic wand. All of these have a different use case and get used in not all that much really. It's a shame that they designed so many things only for them to end up proudly filling your inventory slots, because the sword is just so much simpler and more effective, especially when you manage to find the upgraded versions that increase its damage. Thankfully, some situations necessitate the use of specific items, like dark rooms being lit by the candle or a boss needing to be fed bombs to be vulnerable for a few seconds. It is in moments like these where Zelda is at its most fun. Skillfully using your ever-growing arsenal to solve puzzles and defeat enemies in specific ways, while trying to make it to the end of a given dungeon before succumbing to its dangers. I say it like this because The Legend of Zelda is certainly not an easy game. It's simple, yes, but with enemies able to take out multiple of your hearts in one hit, constant traps, and Link having by far the shortest sword on the block, it's surprisingly easy to die in this game and having to start over from our beloved and iconic first screen, no matter where you are. At least it saves your progress, and you don't run the risk of having to redo more than an atrocious run back to where you died. Apparently the Triforce cannot save you from the wheels of time, because the first Legend of Zelda game certainly didn't age very well. It offers some fun gameplay opportunities with creative items, a memorable soundtrack, and even some, for the time, intense boss fights, but most of your time is spent aimlessly running around the large, albeit mostly empty world map, fighting the same respawning monsters over and over again while hoping to stumble across a new dungeon or secret before you go insane or consult a walkthrough. Actually, I think playing with a walkthrough is the best way to enjoy this game, because it eliminates most of my pain points while still letting you enjoy the fun stuff to its fullest. When we completed The Legend of Zelda, we had 4 hours and 58 minutes of total playtime, 9 dungeons completed, 6 lives lost, 871 rupees found, 359 bombs used on walls in the open world in hopes of finding a secret. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching, and remember to always keep that backlog rolling.